Unit 3, Week 1. This is your introduction video for this week. And it's a new unit, so first we're going to talk about our unit opener, which is getting from here to there. And the big idea for this is what kinds of experiences can lead to new discoveries for us. And we're first going to listen to a little poem here called Beyond Borders. And it's written by Anne Citrino. And as you're listening to this, I want you to be thinking about that essential question of experiences leading to new discoveries. So here we go. To tell the truth, as the plane hovered over the city lights, I felt afraid. The tight borders, endless sand and empty expanses, the different rules. But then I arrived and found myself a guest at a table groaning with meat, bread, dates, tea, and more. Laughter sweetening the night, we shared stories, exchanged histories. Gentleness entered the room. Under a new moon's light, I held out my hand to say goodbye, then walked out into the desert sky's open arms. 100,000 grains of sand rose with the wind and resettled, soft and new. So first of all, think about why that speaker might have been afraid at first and how their feelings change. And then what do you think the title might refer to? What different borders might there be? So we'll discuss this later as we go on throughout the week, but also be thinking about how can experiencing a different culture have a positive effect on people. So now let's go ahead and talk about our weekly concept, which is cultural exchange. And the essential question that we have for this week is, what can learning about different cultures teach us? And I suppose that many of you probably have had an experience where you got to meet someone from a different culture. So cultural appreciation means that we're understanding the quality or worth of the beliefs, traditions, customs, and arts of different groups of people. And in this picture, you'll see this lady, and she is doing a dance from her culture. And dancing is a part of many different cultures, and it's often used as a way to express beliefs and customs. This woman is performing a traditional African dance and is wearing traditional African clothing. By her smile, though, we can tell that she must be enjoying the art of this dancing. All right, at this time, if you'll get your 5-subject notebook, we're going to start talking about our vocabulary for the week. You need to write those words in your 5-subject notebook and be sure to include a quick definition for them. The first word we have for this week is appreciation. Appreciation. And appreciation is when we understand the value of something, we learn to appreciate it. So our sentence that goes along with this picture is, Graham showed her appreciation for my help by giving me a hug. Our next word is blurted. If you blurt out an answer, you say it suddenly and maybe not necessarily with thinking before you do it. So our sentence here is, by mistake, I blurted out the secret about the surprise. Our next word is complimenting. Complimenting. And complimenting is when you say something nice about someone, or maybe even about what they are doing. The sentence here is, complimenting me when I do well makes me feel great. Our next word is congratulate. And when we congratulate someone, it means to give praise or good wishes for something that has happened. So after Nikki lost the race, she went over to congratulate the winner. Our next word is contradicted. Contradicted. This means to disagree with an original point of view or an original statement. So in this particular picture, the witness right here contradicted what he said earlier, and the lawyer pointed it out. The next word is critical. Critical. And when we are critical, we tend to find fault or mistakes, or we might have a strong opinion about something. A critical person often finds faults with what others do and points it out. Our next word is cultural. Cultural. And when we talk about cultural stuff, that means we're learning about customs, beliefs, and traditions of a group of people. So in this case, we have the sentence, languages, foods, and celebrations are examples of cultural differences. And our last word for this week is misunderstanding. Misunderstanding. And when you have a misunderstanding, you fail to understand one another. So in this case, our sentence is, Kayla wore the wrong clothes as a result of a misunderstanding. Okay, now turn in your 5-subject notebook to your grammar section because we're going to talk about grammar this week. We have some tricky stuff this week because it's verbs and they're not always easy to understand. And we're getting into a little more difficult stuff. So please pay attention to what we're talking about. So first of all, let's review what verbs and action verbs are. A verb simply shows what the subject does or is. But an action verb expresses action. So in this sentence, the bus driver takes us to school. So the action in this is takes. Some other common action verbs are eat, run, walk, work, put, and talk. And I bet you could think of many, many other better ones than just those. Okay, now here's where it gets tricky. There are often commonly misused verbs. And a lot of them have to do with the fact that we're not completely sure how to use them correctly. So we don't use them in the right manner when we're writing or when we're speaking even. So let's take a look at these 3 sets of misused verbs, and we might think of them as tricky verbs. So we have lie versus lay, sit versus set, and rise versus raise. So let's first take a look at lie versus lay. In the present tense, so that means it's happening right now, lie means to lie down on the couch, and lay means to lay the book down. So in this case, lying down on the couch is physically a person doing that, and lay means to set something down. So not the body, but something else being laid down. The same is almost true for sit versus set. Sit is for the action of actually a person or an animal sitting and putting themselves into a sitting position. And set means the act of actually setting something down. So you would be setting the book down. Now the last one, rise versus raise. Rise is the action that a person or animal does by itself. So if you were sitting first, when you got out of the chair, you would rise out of the chair. And raise, though, is what a person does to someone or something else. So if you are going to think about that, you might think of when a person helps to raise up the couch, then they're actually doing the thing where they pick up the couch and move it to a different location or up into the air. Okay, so raise really means to put something up into the air or lift it up. I hope that helps you to better understand those. If not, watch it again, and if you're still confused, we can get through this as we go through the week. So this is the end of this video. Please make sure that you review anything and make sure you have your notes taken in your 5-subject notebook. At the end of this week, I'm going to be collecting those, so please make sure that you have them taken care of. And any notes that you've forgotten to do, you can go back in the previous weeks and get that taken care of. You may stop the video at this time.